Hey guys, this is Ricardo Diaz with the Patriotic Immigrant. Today we're going to be talking about Ori Solomon and the very now infamous online case of an illegal biolab in a residential area outside of Las Vegas. So here's the video, and then I did a deep dive into some of the specifics of it, just to kind of clear up some of the internet gossip. But then I'm also going to dive into speculation that I couldn't find online. All right, guys.
Investigators say they were tipped off to one by someone who worked in the house. They raided it early Saturday morning. Video revealing the hundreds of samples collected in vials and jugs. Days later, police identifying this man, Ori Solomon, as the property manager.
We have no knowledge that he had any expertise or is in that area, or he's somewhat of a trained biologist, no.
Court records obtained by Channel 13 show he's an Israeli citizen here on a non-immigrant visa. Authorities say he works for a Chinese citizen who goes by the alias David Herr, who owns the home on Sugar Springs Drive. Herr is in a California jail charged following a 2023 investigation of an alleged illegal biolab in Reedley, California. Leaders there holding a press conference this week.
Pathogens including samples of COVID-19. There was 1,000 transgenic mice that were there.
Investigators say much of what was found in that Fresno warehouse is consistent with materials found in the lab in Las Vegas. Solomon manages more than 30 short-term rental properties, including this one where the biolab was found in Las Vegas.
The man arrested in connection with the biolab discovery in Las Vegas has had federal charges dropped. Earlier this month, the U.S. Attorney's Office for Nevada filed a motion to dismiss the criminal complaint filed against Ori Solomon. He was taken to federal custody back in February after investigators conducted a raid on his Valley home. Officers found a refrigerator containing vials filled with unknown liquids. He was charged with disposing and discharging hazardous waste. Federal prosecutors had charged him with illegal possession of a firearm. An FBI complaint states his immigration status barred him from owning or possessing a gun. State-level charges against him remain ongoing in Las Vegas.
All right, guys. So Ori Solomon, he is a 37-year-old Israeli citizen who also has citizenship of France. He was in the U.S. on a temporary visa. When you're on a temporary visa, you are allowed to work, but you're only allowed to work for the duration of the visa. So a lot of who would hire someone to do that type of work? Anyway, he was managing 37 properties. Now, I don't know if all of them were, but I know this one was unlicensed, right? Some residents don't, some residential areas don't allow short-term rentals like Airbnb or the other ones. Like where I live now, we're not allowed to do short-term rentals, right? So that's one of the weird things, right? So they had this home listed on Airbnb, and the reason that they got their initial search warrant, right? This property was searched twice. The initial search warrant was issued because the people that were coming to do the cleaning staff that was coming to clean in between visitors filed a complaint with the police saying that they all three of them got sick, shortness of breath, dizzy, lightheadedness, and they had to be hospitalized. One of the ladies had to be hospitalized. But before that, there had been several complaints from short-term rentals that were staying at the Airbnb, that they all had, some had even had temporary blindness, like coughing out fluids, coughing, just serious coughs, bronchitis, and other really just severe allergic reaction, but with people that normally aren't allergic to anything. Right, so that's weird, right? Shortness of breath, tired, exhaustion, just coughing up phlegm, right, for days after leaving there. So then that triggered a local police warrant that initial warrant, they found over 1,000 tiny vials of liquids. There were jugs. A lot of them had labels on them. Some of the labels had COVID-19. Some had malaria. Some had yellow fever. Some had some blood vials had HIV, AIDS, and other blood-borne pathogens. Now, this home, while being managed by Ori Solomon, along with 37 other homes that he managed, were owned by a Chinese citizen and a member of the CCP. His name is Xi Bengzhu. Now, Xi Bengzhu is already in prison in California for running another illegal medical lab. So he's in jail already for that. So the reason that the FBI got involved is there were hundreds of phone calls made from the prison to Solomon, hundreds of phone calls, and because obviously they can't monitor the phone calls, which we really need to change that law. If you're in jail or prison, your call should be monitored. Anyway, police believe Solomon, believe Solomon was helping manage the secret Vegas setup. Now, yes, that's not a belief of the police. That's a fact of the case. He was a property manager for the properties that were owned by Xi Bingzhu, and that's not a belief. That's a fact. You were working for this guy. Now, this guy was here on a temporary visa. So they raided his home, and they arrested him and raided his home. When they raided his home, they found handguns, but they didn't have a warrant to remove the handguns from the property. So they had to go back to the judge, say, "Hey, judge, this guy is here on a temporary visa, meaning he's not legally allowed to own firearms, but he has 6." So, and then the FBI got a warrant. They went back and then they confiscated the weapons. He's not being arrested for the labs, for having access to chemical weapons or to having access to biological weapons. He's not being charged for that, which is ridiculous. Because if you're managing the property and you know that this is going on, you should be charged for that. He's not. He's only being charged for the firearms. So, how, right? They're not no one is investigating how did he get the firearms? Who did he buy them from? Who sold them to him? That's not being investigated. They also found dozens of passports with different spelling of his name for the U.S. and other countries. He's not being charged for fraud, right? Having illegal passports is a huge felony. Where did he get those passports from? That's not being investigated. That is why people believe this is a Mossad agent, right? He's not being charged with any of this. So what happened? So then the big thing is obviously the federal gun charges were dropped. He's still facing local government charges, but he was released from jail. So if he leaves the state of Nevada, that's it. Yeah, which is it doesn't make any sense. And what the federal prosecutors say that his gun charge was suspended due to the interest of national security. Right? No, in the interest of justice and national security. Right? That's the statement from the federal prosecutors as to why the gun charges. The only charges that were given to Solomon were gun charges, and they were dropped in the interest of justice and security. What does that mean? There's no other explanation. He probably left the country already. He's probably back in Israel. I don't understand. And I'm not one of these people I don't want to believe Israel's responsible for things. But what it appears to be, right? This is just my opinion. What it appears to be is Israel is working with the CCP to topple the U.S. government and to topple the U.S. population. They're creating Why are Chinese citizens allowed to buy property in the United States? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. It feels like the federal government is not protecting us. Why are Israeli citizens given extended work visas in this country when no other race can do that? No other people can come to this country and do that. He was working for an unlicensed a set of short-term rentals. That's not a real business. When you have a job, you need to be represented by, when you come in on a work visa, you need to be represented by a company, right? The company sponsors you. If the company that's sponsoring you is an illegal business, then they can't sponsor you. So who was sponsoring him? Those are the questions that are not being answered. Guys, Chinese citizens are owning property in America, running labs that are being managed by Israeli citizens that have firearms and heavy munitions, right? They found 2 rifles and 6 handguns, or 4 handguns and 2 rifles. Hundreds of rounds. No one's asking any of those questions. The federal prosecutors aren't asking these questions. The investigators aren't asking this question. The guy is probably gone from Nevada, probably back in Israel, and nothing happened. That's not true. A lot of things happened. U.S. citizens were sick. U.S. citizens are sick because of a citizen of the Chinese Communist Party and a citizen of Israel. And no one is being punished for it. Just the American people. Guys, I love this country. But this isn't right. This isn't right, and it's not fair. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to my brothers and sisters who risked their lives for these wars. I hate it. I hate that we did this. I hate that this is happening. This is happening to our country. I hate it. All right, guys. I gotta find a happier story to tell. This is depressing. I'm sorry for the rant. This is still the greatest country on earth, regardless of how bad. Trust me, I've been around the world. This is by far the greatest country. Even though we do have marginalized groups, you are better being a marginalized group in America than anywhere else in the world. I was arguing that online with someone. Yes, homosexuals are treated unfairly in this country, right? This is a conversation that I was having online, saying homosexuals are being treated unfairly in this country. Yeah, homosexuals are treated unfairly in this country compared to the rest of the world. This is the safest place on earth for a homosexual. So, I get it. Continue to fight for your rights. That's your right. But to say that this country hates homosexuals, no. The world hates homosexuals, and the world kills them. The world executes them. The world doesn't allow them to exist. Doesn't allow them to marry. The U.S. does. So, and again, the U.S. allows it, even though the majority of people are against it. So we go against our own citizens to protect the rights because we believe everyone has a right to exist, right? That's part of the Constitution. So the U.S. morally and inherently is more righteous than any other country on earth, including every other citizen on earth, right? It's more morally righteous. And we need to defend that Constitution. And we need to protect that Constitution. And we need to protect the people of this country. All right, guys. Take care.